So when we're trying to find the vertex in a, when we're given the vertex in a point, we want to find the equation for our quadratic function. Well, you guys can remember that we have two forms that we write. We can either write the quadratic form, or we can actually write it in standard form. All right? So these are two different forms that we use. And what we're going to want to do is, let's see if we want to ask, we want to write, it just says find the equation. So the easiest form that I can say to use would be to use this, the standard form. And the reason why is, in your guys' notes, we had the vertex is equal to h comma k. So it tells you right there, vertex is h comma k. Now there is a formula we can find the vertex for this, but we haven't gotten that yet. So if I just want to find what is the formula, and they tell me the vertex is hk, and then they tell you what the vertex is, well, it's very easy. Let's just plug that in. So I have f of x equals my vertex. 2 is my h, so 2 goes in for h. So it's a x minus 2 plus 3 is my k. And that's a squared, obviously. All right, now this isn't fully completed because one thing, I don't know what a is. I have two variables now. I have an a and an x. So I need to find the value of a. So to do that, one thing they tell us is this graph goes through this point. And remember, a graph is a set of, is a set of points. So therefore, I know this point is on my graph. So if I plug this point in, it's going to make this equation equal. And it'll tell me what the value of a is. So one thing you can think about, now that we're talking about functions, is remember functions are input. You have an input value and an output value, right? Input and output, domain and your range. It's the same thing as like x and y. So my output value, my y variable, is the same thing as my f of x. So I'm going to plug in 2 is equal to a, I don't know the value. 0, they tell us, is 0. I'm sorry, x is 0 minus 2 squared plus 3. So then 0 minus 2 is going to give you negative 2. Negative 2 is 4. So I get 2 equals a times 4 plus 3. Subtract the 3. Negative 1 equals 4a. Divide by 4. A equals a negative 1/4. That's right, that will clear. Any questions? Make sense? Not done yet, but at this point, we got it? Yes, maybe? All right, and then from here, I just plug in my a back into my equation. So now, I know what a is, I know what my h is, and I know what my k is. So f of x equals a negative 1/4 x minus 2 plus 3. And
minus 2 squared.
That's on there. I'm sorry?
Minus 2 squared.
Yeah, minus 2 squared. And then, yes. There you go. And then, and if you wanted to do it as the quadratic form, if the question asks, we'll write it as a quadratic, then you'd have to do negative 1/4. Factor that. X minus 2 times x minus 2. X squared minus 4x plus 4. Right? Plus 3. Then you have to distribute this.
Is it going to ask us to do it in quadratic form?
I'm just saying maybe. It might ask you to do the quadratic. But usually there's really no point, but I just want to kind of see how you guys can see where you're going from here to a standard form to a quadratic form, how they're all related. It's just different forms. So this would be a negative 1/4 x squared. These are now going to cancel out, right? Plus x minus 1 plus 3. No, we already put it in standard form. We're trying to put it, if I asked you what it was in quadratic form.
Before that.
Yeah. All I was asking you to do though was, yes, I just asked you to put it in standard form, which would have been perfectly acceptable.
Can you do it for standard form?
What do you mean?
Did you just do it from the?
Yeah, all I did was I took my vertex and my point, I plugged them into my the scalar form equation, and I found the equation of my graph in standard form.
Wait, did you plug your point?
Oh, so that's the answer right there.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. So basically, you're just taking the numbers you're given and plugging them in.
Yep.
That's easy.
So, yes.